How are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to get this nice sleep position so that I'm like in the perfect sun. There we go. Nice.
Oh, look at that lighting. That looks awesome.
You got to find your light, Katie. You got to find your light.
I know. You're usually on the other side here, so this must be strange. I'm interviewing you.
It's very strange. Like, I feel like, wait, what are my questions? Oh, right. I'm answering questions.
You're answering questions, and we're really excited that you took the time to do this. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. And you know what? It's actually hilarious because I have a family friend who, for years, Pooja, I can't even tell you, for years, whenever he sees me, he calls me Pooja because he thinks that we look like we could be sisters.
Okay.
And so
I think that we could be sisters too.
Oh my goodness. I believe that he and his wife are tuning in right now, like created an account to tune in right now because he's been waiting for this moment. So this is awesome.
I see it too. So I'm with you, sir. Whatever you say. I think we could be sisters. Why not?
I'll take it. I love it. Thank you. Welcome to Together We Rise, uplifting conversations for challenging times where we feature an inspiring guest at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we talk how they're coping with their own mental health during COVID-19. And the lady behind the face is here with us today, and you see her. She's been bringing us, the news. She's been bringing us humor. She's been bringing us entertainment for many years now in the city of Toronto. And we're just so thrilled to have her here today. When we set out to start Together We Rise, we really wanted a partner who was focused and committed to mental health like we were. So if you're looking to speak with a mental health professional, First Session makes it so easy to access a therapist because all of their sessions right now during COVID are online. You go to their platform, you can see videos from all of the various therapists that are listed there. You can find which one is the best fit for you, connect, reach out, and some therapists are offering discounted rates during COVID. So huge shout out to First Session.
That's awesome.
Now, I want to introduce my sister. Pooja Handa is an award-winning broadcaster who most people recognize as the co-host of Toronto's #1 morning show, CP24 BREAKFAST. Torontonians have come to know Pooja as one of the familiar faces, greeting them every morning. I know that's the way it is in my family, helping them start their day with a smile. Pooja has hosted many prominent Toronto events, including the Toronto International Film Festival, Pride Parade, Scotiabank Caribbean Carnival, Toronto Raptors Championship Parade, Canada's Walk of Fame, and many more. She's also appearing and making regular appearances on CTV's The Social and The Marilyn Dennis Show. Pooja, welcome.
Thank you. I mean, you can keep going. This is really good. I feel good about me when you name all my accomplishments all at once. That's very nice of you.
And you're literally glowing. The sun radiating on you looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Pooja, talk to me about how COVID is impacting you personally and also professionally. Like, how has it changed things at CP24?
Well, things have changed a lot at work. I mean, obviously, it's a new normal for everybody. We are considered an essential service. We're a public service, really. And when this all sort of happened about 4 weeks ago, it was the Sunday before we started our broadcast for our show. And I called up my producer and my director and I said, look, I really think that it's so important that what we do on a go forward is about everybody at home. It's about answering their questions. It's about being that place that people come to, yes, to be informed and to know what's happening in their city, but also there's so many questions and there's so much misinformation out there. So we have to be that place that every day they can rely on hearing from, people at the municipal level, at the provincial level, at the federal level, having access to doctors. So, and, they definitely agreed and showed up with it. So every day at 6:30, we have the mayor on and you can ask the mayor questions. We have an infectious disease specialist on every single day as well, who's answering all of your questions because this is changing and it's changing so fast. It's almost hourly and new questions sort of rise up. And at the end of the day, we're used to having celebrities on and promoting shows and promoting music, but what we wanted our show to be about, especially in those morning hours, is about serving you and making you the guests, making the people at home really at the center of what we're trying to do. Because really, that's what it's about. It's about everybody who's watching, and together, us all sort of going through this together. So that has brought me a lot. Believe it or not, that has really been the thing that's helped me get through it. It's given me more purpose to come to work every day. I'm getting emotional even talking about it, because I know what we're doing is so important, and to be a part of that and be a part of people's normalcy in their day, it means a lot.
That's really true. It's like you get used to that routine of seeing faces that you love, every morning on the TV, informing you, entertaining you. And CP24 is for sure the place where my family goes and so many people go to. So we're grateful that you guys are keeping the energy and keeping our spirits up during this time. Now, I wonder, with getting all of these ongoing news updates, and, this isn't just for now, this is something that's you've been doing for years. How do you personally kind of balance handling all of these various updates coming in and sort of take time to also step away and find your own peace?
Yeah, because it's so important to unplug. And, I don't really have a choice in what I do for a living. I am accessing a lot of information on a daily basis, and I do read a lot. Actually, every day for the show, I spend about 2 hours on my own, just finding stories that are positive, that are highlighting what good things are happening in our neighborhoods, and, really highlighting people's creativity. But it takes 2 hours because I have to read about 20 different online publications. And when you read 20 different online publications, you read the bad stuff too. And some of the really heartbreaking things that are happening. That's aside from all the stuff in my personal life where, I know people who have been laid off. I know people who have done the laying off and how horrible that feels. People who can't pay rent, people who are self-employed, who don't know where that next paycheck's coming from. And even with help from the government, it's still so hard. So you take that, you take everything I'm reading, and it's a lot. So what I try to do is come to work. I'm obviously there in the morning, so I know what's going on for the day. I've spent those 2 hours the night before trying to find some positivity. That's the balance, the good and the bad. But then I unplug. I come home. I do not watch the news. I don't watch updates that come from the prime minister or come from the premier. I don't watch them.
Wow.
I then will watch again before I go to bed, just so I'm completely up to date. But I have to take those breaks. And I think, maybe it's not the popular view because I work at a news station, but I do think it's important to be informed. I think you should watch the news, but I don't think you need to be doing it all day.
That's really good advice and really awesome to hear. So you've kind of, picked your times where you tune in and you go deep into the issue. And I also love that you read a wide range and look at a wide range of publications. So you're getting a very balanced perspective. And then, of course, you're always doing like a lot of feel good, even on your personal posts. Like I saw over the past few days, you've been sharing these amazing signs in your community of positivity.
Yes, it's awesome. I go for a walk every day. That's sort of my only exercise. I'm not really a workout girl, but I do find that going for a walk, just getting fresh air and, the endorphins and all those things, but also discovering your neighborhood. It's been awesome walking around and seeing what little kids are doing with the chalk on the sidewalk, and they've got teddy bears in the windows and those signs that they put up. I mean, it really does. It makes a difference. It's a little tiny thing, but it puts a little bounce in your step when you're walking around and you see that kind of positivity.
So I saw a post from you recently and I chuckled at it because you're like, I am spending a lot of time with my husband.
Yes.
And you guys are usually like obviously such busy people and doing all of these various things. And you're like, okay, so how do we find our alone time even while we're together? Because both of you like to have your own space. So what's been working for you?
Okay, so you have to understand, usually I have the whole day to myself, and my husband usually would come home around 6 or 7. We spend an hour together, and then I go to bed, and he has the whole night to himself. So we don't actually see each other, a whole lot, about an hour a day. And then we catch up on the weekends, and we really miss each other by the time the weekend comes. So this is different because he's home, but what I've tried to do is just keep the same routine. So I'm still going to work, which I think is helpful for me. But when I get home and he's here, he goes upstairs to our bedroom, which is now his office, and I stay downstairs. And I don't go up there to bug him for anything. Like if I wasn't going to call him normally at work about something, I just I don't. So even if I have a question, I just don't. I leave him alone and he'll come down for lunch, and then we'll have a little quick chat, and then he'll go back up, and it's been great. It's as long as we stay away from one another, it's been great. Because when we spend too much time together, we like it's really petty. But keep in mind, and this is what I want all couples to keep in mind and families, is that there's just sort of this low level of anxiety and uncertainty that we're all feeling right now. And it means that every little thing is that much more heightened. And so, I don't blame or feel bad that happens with us, because it's understandable that something so little can become a blow up, even though it doesn't mean anything in the scheme of things and all of that. I think it's completely normal. And we all just have to understand, like, okay, the fuse is going to be a little bit shorter, and we all just have to be a little bit more sensitive. And maybe this is not the time to bring up that same fight that you've been having for years. Maybe this is not the time to bring up something stressful. Instead, what I try to do is find ways to make him laugh, and vice versa. We laugh a lot in this house.
I absolutely love that. And as I was reading more about you preparing for today's chat, I saw, your background. You've always been somebody who has done a lot of things, and you're still doing that today. And I was reading that even when you were going to school, you were working like 3 different jobs and, putting the hustle in to try and make things happen for yourself. And this is really a time where nobody could have anticipated being in this situation. People are afraid, people are struggling, people are forced to be perhaps more creative with how they make ends meet and how they move forward for themselves, and especially our small business owners. So wondering if you could kind of speak to your own experience of maybe finding opportunity, maybe, making the best of where you are and always looking for that next project.
Yeah, I think sometimes, there's a misconception that, when you are on TV, for instance, that, somehow you've made it. And the thing that I don't think people realize is that I've probably heard no way more than I've heard yes. I've tried to do lots of things while I've, been on air, and I get rejected a lot. So I'm kind of a person who's used to being told no. And when you start to sort of think that way, that, okay, well, this might not get the green light, what else can I do? You start to become a person who's like, okay, well, if this didn't work, I'm going to go around it this way. And if that doesn't work, then why don't I try this? Or maybe there is something here where I need to look at my own skill set and grow as a broadcaster. Or maybe there's something I'm not doing, or maybe there's a reason why I'm not reaching people in this way. So I do think that if it's not necessarily something where you're getting results from other people who are making decisions, sometimes those results can come from inner reflection and growing just as a human. Like a lot of the books I read are self-help books, and I'm just one of those people who always wants to be better at what I'm doing, and I want to hone those skills to the point where I can look at it and say, look, I've tried everything, and when that didn't work, I tried this, and when that didn't work, I tried this. And so I just keep on trying.
I love that. Be a lifelong learner, and it helps make you more nimble for times like this where it's challenging, right? It's like, okay, something's not working, an obstacle appeared. What can I do? How can I use what I have to make a new opportunity?
Exactly. It's so true. And look, I mean, not everybody is blessed with opportunities. I think sometimes people think, oh, that person's so lucky. There's luck is a small part of it, but a lot of it is hard work. And when you get those opportunities, if you've done the work and you've honed your skills and you're an ideas person who's constantly thinking of different angles, then eventually that luck for you is going to be great. But it's not all luck. There's all these other things that you have to also be doing in the background at the same time.
Pooja, this is awesome. Like, really, this is good inspiration. I'm inspired. I can see people loving this in the comments. Yes. And we have some questions coming in for Pooja about some of her recommendations. And we're actually going to move right into that now with our lightning round. 10 quick questions to get to know her a little bit better. And it does finish with some book and Netflix show recommendations. So that's coming. So, Pooja, what makes you a good person to be quarantined with?
Ooh, okay. I'm super silly. So I'm that person who will be like, boo. Or sometimes I just put like a throw over my head and like hide in a room just because why not? It's fun.
I'm sure that contributes really well to that whole like husband-wife balance.
Yeah.
On the flip side, what makes you a potentially not so great person to be quarantined with?
The same answer. I'm really silly. And I do things like that, and I'm sure that that can become annoying at times too. So you know, you gotta remember. On the one hand, you're laughing, but on the other hand, you're like, really? Oh wow, you're hiding in the same place you were hiding last time.
Okay, I got
Old.
That's amazing. I have so many good questions coming through, and I'm going to throw this one into lightning round because I really like it. Pooja,
Okay.
has the current pandemic changed your perspective on what is really important? I'm guessing like they're asking like in life. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about all of you, but I've been doing so much self-reflection, but also just that, you know, in many ways, this has really been a reset, I think, for us, and maybe a much needed reset in terms of how we treat one another and who we are and what things really matter in our life. I know that, for instance, I've always been really friendly with my neighbors, but during the pandemic, they're a little bit older. They are seniors. I've reached out and I've offered to, you know, get groceries or do whatever, just be here as a neighbor. And in the past, you know, we've kind of said hello and whatnot, but during this pandemic, they've actually called and, you know, asked us like, yo, could you, you know, we have some flowers outside and we're not home. Would you mind, you know, just keep them in your home until whatever? And it's just been so nice to actually connect with people in a very real and meaningful way. So that's been awesome. And then also, I can't believe how much I miss, you know, my parents and just wanting to like go and hug them and other family members as well. I'm a busy person who almost never has time for anybody. So I just get so wrapped up in the busy that you forget, obviously, the people that you take for granted the most. So for me, this has really been a chance to remind myself of all the things I'm grateful for. In fact, every morning in the shower, I do a little grateful journal in my head. I just sort of remind myself of all the things that I'm really, really blessed with.
What a good idea. I like that. See, look at these tips we're getting. Great question. Thank you so much for submitting that. Okay, favorite quote that you keep in mind to keep you motivated?
Oh, okay. So, you know, there's so many, but I think during right now, what's most fitting is if you want the rainbow, you have to put up with the rain.
Yes.
And I feel like it's sort of, it works for right now, but it works in general too. When you just think about, there's so much that's going on in life and it's, you know, it's not always going to be rainbows, right? And you do have to deal with the really tough stuff to have something beautiful in the end.
Love that. So good. How about a go-to pump up song?
Oh, okay. Anything Motown. So Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, anything Motown, Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch, like you put that song on, you cannot be in a bad mood. That's by the Four Tops, by the way, if you want to.
Love that song. Yeah, we're compiling a playlist of all of our guests and their recommendations. So it's going to be like the COVID pump up playlist.
Oh, I love that.
Current at-home workout. You kind of touched on this earlier. It's walking for you.
Just walking.
Walking's awesome.
Yeah, I don't really do anything else. I wish I had the motivation to do it. And I know people talk about endorphins and all those things. It's not my thing. I've tried it. I've tried everything and I don't like anything. It's still working out at the end of the day and it feels like a chore to me. But walking's fun.
And so good right now to get that fresh air and it's awesome for your mental health. So that's a good one. Now, how about your go-to healthy snack? I know you're a proud vegetarian, as am I, because obviously we're sisters.
We're sisters. Yeah,
what's your go-to healthy snack?
So I really just like walnuts and raspberries together. And if you're feeling like a little spicy and you want to add something to it, a little dark chocolate, it's so good. It feels so decadent. It feels like you're cheating, but you're not. It's so good for you.
How about your book recommendation?
So it's interesting, Katie, because I'm sure you've probably read this book, but I don't read fiction. So I'm not a fan of any fiction. I do like to read books where I feel like I'm learning something or self-help. But there's a book that's called TED Talks. So you might know a thing or two about that. And it's really sort of a guide to public speaking because it's so important to not only be good at public speaking when you do what I do for a living, but how do you be impactful in what you're saying and the words you're using and, you know, using humor as a tool and sort of all these things to be a really sort of impactful speaker is really intriguing to me. So I found just reading all of those tips in that guide has been great. So it's a great book recommendation if anybody wants to check it out.
Very good book. And I'm also a nonfiction person. And I think this is a great time to be learning and developing additional skills. And so communication, no matter what job you're in, always pays off. So I love that.
Yeah.
That's a really good recommendation. How about Netflix show?
Oh my gosh, Tiger King.
You're into Tiger King.
Yes, and there's supposed to be a new episode, and I don't know when it's coming
What?
out. I think it's probably tomorrow because Netflix tends to drop new shows on Fridays. So yeah, Tiger King, I'm obsessed. I binge watched the entire thing in 2 days. I'll admit it.
It's like you wouldn't have imagined that this show would be, one, so interesting, and two, so informative. Like you learned so much about just the big cat world, which before this I had no idea.
No, same. And I love that in this particular series, nobody walked away from that series looking good. Like everybody looked bad. And so I don't know why any of them signed up to do it, but
that's what I was thinking. Yes. But we get some great viewing, so that's awesome. Okay, we're down to the last few questions of the lightning round, and there are still so many questions coming in. But guys, we really appreciate. We try and keep this to a 15-minute, 20-minute-ish power chat with an inspiring guest. So, Pooja, are there any skills or hobbies? It's not that you have more time, because you definitely don't. But any new skills or hobbies that maybe you've had in mind that you wanted to try that maybe you're going to give a try soon?
So I was saying to my husband, like, we need a project. And obviously you can understand the whole sort of mental health part of things, of like feeling like you have control over something when everything actually around you is completely out of your control. So, I've already organized my shoe closet and my pantry, and I'm running out of things. So our project is we're going to do a photo wall. So given that we are having this sort of reset as well and thinking about the things that are most important to us, we want to get a bunch of photos of all of our families, put them in some nice frames, do something really fun on the wall. And that's going to take a lot of time to do, because we're going to have to find the photos and, get the right frames and figure out what that looks like. But that's our next project.
Love it. Projects are what keep us focused and busy, and it uplifts our spirits. So that's great. Pooja, lastly, where can people connect with you beyond today's live?
Well, obviously on any of my socials. So it's Pooja Handa TV, but also I launched a website a few months ago, 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐬.com. So if you want to check that out, there's a little bit more about sort of my story and my background. Everything that's going on is literally been put on hold. So there hasn't been any new projects to talk about, but that's all really not important given everything that's going on. We're just all in this together, and we have to be patient. And again, you have to put up with the rain if you want that rainbow.
Yes. Hearts for Pooja. Put some hearts in the comments. Like, this was such a good live. I really appreciate you taking the time to share what's happening personally and professionally for you, and just giving us some great advice and tips. It's really a pleasure. You've made my family, friends' day. You've made my day, and I'm sure so many of the people who've tuned in today. So thank you so much, Pooja. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, sister. I love what you're doing. So let's do this together. Together we rise.
Together we rise. Couldn't think of a better way to close. And thanks again to our first session sponsor. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Bye everyone. Thank you.